to Season 4, Episode 3 of Les Oderants. I am Dan, and I am joined this week only by two of the finest minds in perfumery, Ben and James. Say hello, Ben and James.
The shit too as well. So everyone's, I can audibly hear everyone's disappointment, like
well, I mean,
ahead of time, even through time and space. I can hear everyone's. My
disappointment is palpable. Yes, no. Fliss has not left us. Thank goodness. But Fliss is struggling to make all of her commitments happen at the same time at the moment. She's got a lot going on, and Fliss is going to take a few episodes break from us, but is promised she will be back, and we are to keep her seats warm. So for today, you get the three original Lesos. Myself, Ben, and James. We made it happen before. We can make it happen again. But Fliss definitely has not left us. And at various points, I will be asking the team, what do we think Fliss would make of this? Which will provide a useful source of
do we have to put
innovative
on her voice as
content. I mean, you don't have to, but it would actually please me a great deal to hear you doing impressions of Fliss, where she has... That'll do. She has no right of reply. No. She's probably listening to this, or hopefully she'll be listening to this. She did say she would, so she'll be listening to this thinking, you cunts, if you fucking do it... That's not how she talks. I have to work on my impression of Fliss. Anyway, so that's quite enough about Fliss, who's not here, the fucking deserter. Instead, you are blessed with myself, Ben, and James, and so we're going to talk a little bit about perfume. And I can't remember where I'd got up to with my incredibly exciting job story. I know everyone's fucking like.
Oh, you've got a new job, haven't you?
Yes, everyone's emotionally invested in my career journey. I've got a new job. Hooray. They asked me in the interview, they said, where does this role fit into your overall career plan? And I sort of went, well, I will be honest. I have no career plan. And if you'd asked me 20 years ago, perhaps I would have given you some trite answer about, slashing and burning my way to the top of the company. But you asked me today, I just want to get paid to have a reasonably enjoyable time working with some decent people.
I'm winding down. I mean, this is the most dynamic I can be in the interview. I'm winding down, to be honest. I'm reaching the autumn of my career, and I'm just winding down. No,
I think that would be a not unfair interpretation
of it.
But I thought
they appreciated that.
I thought it came across as honest. Yeah. Yes, exactly. No, I'm perfectly happy to work. I just don't really have any, ambition, as it were, to sort of. This is all coming out wrong. I don't have a what's the next step and the next step, because I've got to get to managing director by the age of 52. Otherwise, my entire career has been pointless. I just don't think in those terms. I perhaps did when I was younger and more not winding down. Yeah, there's no good way of saying it. It just comes across like, this is the sunset job. Anyway, I have a new job, which is very exciting, and what I've been doing for the last few months, where things were a bit financially uncertain, is I've basically been hoarding cash. I've been, selling perfumes, here and there. I've been trying to not spend money on anything. I've no takeaways, no sort of new clothes, nothing that sort of was not basically strictly necessary, and so I thought, well, I can live a little, yeah. So I went to Harrods and I bought a perfume. I didn't actually buy it at Harrods because it wasn't on sale and I refused to pay retail. But I went home and found a discount code, and it is by a Italian brand called Fornasetti. And I feel like, James, you would probably have come across Fornasetti at some point, but they basically do design stuff, all sorts of trinklements and like homewares and very, very, very cool Italian sort of styled stuff.
Okay. I've never heard of them now.
Well, nor had I until I came across their perfumes on the 6th floor. And they've just basically launched a range of perfumes. There are 3. One was very green and I did not like it. One was very floral and I did not like it. And then one, I can't even remember the names of those 2. But one was called Immaginazione, like the Italian spelling of it. And it comes in this mad octagonal box, and it's got.
So you were telling me about these. Sorry, I'll just interject there. Right. So I was thinking, you looked at this brand, you were in Harrods, you're thinking, I want one of these. Right? I fucking want one of these. So there was 2 that you didn't really like, and probably one that you're like, meh, it's all right, but it was in an octagonal box, so you had to have it. Is that an unfair? Am I being too reductive there? Is that unfair?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't near all right. It's fucking brilliant.
Well, I'm glad.
It is absolutely spectacular. And I couldn't even describe it particularly well, other than it's a sort of spicy, aromatic-y, woody sort of affair. And it reminded me of there's a French fashion brand called Hayari, and they had a range of perfumes, and they had one called like Only for Him, which is a fucking weird name. They make like wedding gowns and stuff, and it was a lot like Only for him. Wedding gowns only for him. It's a very niche wedding gown business. Anyway, it was sort of in that style. But much, much, much stronger. And apparently the perfumer, it's not listed, but the perfumer is apparently Paolo Terenzi, which sort of surprised me because I like a lot of the Paolo Terenzi stuff, but I don't love a lot of it. You know, I find it difficult to sort of, maybe it was just the octagonal bottle and the fancy schmancy printing of the it's got like this crazy sort of it's got a face on the back of the glass, so it looks like there's someone sort of peering through the bottle. It's pretty fucking bonkers. It may have been the presentation as well, but I treated myself to that. So that's been one of my exciting perfume things. The other thing was I can't remember if I even told you this, but I finally completed the Parisians, the wooden, the Guerlain wooden box ones. I managed to find L'Ame des Eros or whatever it's called, which is the remake of Coriolan. Oh, yes, because we spoke about Coriolanus and it being sort of lesser Shakespeare, according to Fliss, who isn't here to justify her position on these things. And I hate it. I fucking hate it. I don't know why I've even got it. I don't...
Because it makes the collection complete, and that's what's important, right?
Is it? Is it important?
Yeah,
is it weird
it's more
that's
important than anything else?
Especially those ones, because they fit like a bookshelf, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Of like, they have it down the spine, don't they? So
yeah,
you've got to have them all, haven't you? I mean, I've only got
the
one.
thing is, if you're anything like me, right, you'd say like, actually, I'm never going to wear this. I hate it. So what's the point? I'll sell it, and then you'll sell it. But then in the back of your mind, every time you look at it, you'll know that that's one short of a full entire collection, and that's just wrong. You can be like 10 short of a collection and not worry, because at the end of the day, that's a long way off a full collection, right?
Yeah.
But when you're one short, that's just going to scratch the back of your brain for the rest of your life. I can't do that.
It's like getting a fucking silver medal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So is that the women's
you were nearly there.
Coriolan then that it's like? Because the other one that's like the men's Coriolan is name some of the other ones in the Parisians. The one I've got, Chamard.
No, Chamard is sort of slightly Fahrenheity.
I suppose. Yeah, it's violet. It's got a kind of violet thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
I know what you mean. It's kind of leathery violet, I suppose. Woody, leathery violet.
Well, okay. I mean, I thought it was the Lame des Eros. I've got to find a way of pronouncing that. I thought that's the one that smells like Coriolan. I may be wrong. There's two Lupin ones though. There's one called Voyo, which is definitely not it. That's a sort of sandalwood thing.
And Dandy. And
one called the Dandy. And I don't care for the Dandy either, to be honest. I feel like, and I fucking hate Frenchie because it's all like it's really tarragon-y, heavy.
So you don't like any of them,
the whole range. Well, I love Derby. Yeah. So I love Derby, and I really like the Arsène Lupin Voyo one, which is the sandalwood one. I wore that the other day. I really enjoyed wearing that. It's a fantastic perfume. But the rest of them, no, I don't really like them. So I might have to flog them. But
I quite like them. But I'm not really in the market.
Well, might have to flog them to you.
I mean, now you've got your job back. I've got a few things I might want to flog to you, to be honest.
Right, okay,
so,
good.
You know,
well,
I've got a Bois Noir there that you might be interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Could be good for your
nice
collection, maybe.
Good for the collection. Okay, well, the two other perfumery things just to mention. One is that I wore yesterday over the musk.
Lovely.
It is. I sort of dug it out because a few people had posted online saying, "Oh, I'm really seeking a bottle of this," and I thought, I never wear it. I may as well sell it. So I thought, well, I'll try it, and if I don't sort of go, "Oh, I fucking love this," then I'll sell it. And of course, I fucking love it. It's brilliant. It is so nice. And I was quite surprised on Instagram. Demi Rawling, of all people, commented on my post saying, "This is my favourite musk," which was quite a surprise.
It's quite a surprise that it's not a fucking...
Must have got it for free at some point.
It's not a bois... What are they called? Parfum... What the fuck are they called?
Parfum de Marly.
Oh, yeah, but that as well. But what's the one that did one for her...
Fragrance du Bois.
Du Bois, that's it, yeah. Or is it Is it Xerjoff? Is she... No, that's another...
No, Xerjoff...
sounds so fucking misogynist. That's another one. But that was another one who's knocking off the Xerjoff guy.
Oh, I think I know the one you mean as well.
Tits McGee, what's she called?
But I can't... yeah, Tits McGee. But it's quite literally like really base kind of incel marketed, hey guys, cop a load of my cleavage. Here's the latest Xerjoff. It's so nakedly, overtly, transparently fucking sex sells type agenda that I mean you can't help but criticize it. I mean it's so vulgar and
but that's social media now, isn't it? Like I without going too off topic, I think these days, like, so I'm like, you know,
you're allowed to go off topic. This is Lezo's.
Well, yeah, but so you know, I used to be a hairstylist, right? And so, but I still keep up with cutting hair, and I still follow a lot of hairdressers on Instagram and stuff. But through that, you tend to sort of fall into the algorithm of like fashion, right? And which is fine because I like clothes and fashion as well, right? But 99% of the shite about clothes and hair on Instagram is actually just really vacuous women like miming over some auto-tune thing and shaking their hips and saying like fit of the day or whatever, and you're like, what is this? Like, I just feel like this. I mean, I sound like an old man, and I fully appreciate that. But the hypersexuality of social media these days just makes that sex sales thing to get to the point.
Yeah,
the sex sales feels like it's like pedal to the floor. Do you know what I mean these days? Like,
horrible.
It's so vacuous and it's revolting. It really is.
Well, I can't remember the woman's name now, but I think we're talking about the same woman who was, I think, first kind of started appearing on like live streams with Dan Norton, you know, Mr. Smelly. And then she said some rather uncharitable stuff about his perfumes and started dating that fucking...
That's the one I'm on about.
Guy. The guy who works for Xerjoff or distributor for Xerjoff or something. And then suddenly she's doing fragrance reviews of my top 50 Xerjoff fragrances.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Fuck's sake.
I'd like to say I'm not being mean about it for any, you know, you go girl and all that. And I'll fucking ogle women on the internet. I don't give a shit. But I think that's fine. But no, I do. But I think when there's like a pretense that there's like something deeper there, or that they actually give a shit about what they're doing or whatever. Not that, you know, I just like, nah. Like, there's something doesn't ring true about her for me.
I'm sure... Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there was some story about her and Jeremy Fragrance.
I think that's how she got a sort of big break. Riding off the coattails of Jeremy Fragrance.
Well, riding off something of Jeremy Fragrance. I mean, it's I don't know.
No, she apparently was ghosted. She said she was ghosted. She said she was ghosted by him. I remember that. But you know.
Oh man, that is terrible. But I mean, we're probably straying into kind
Fliss
of
would have told
legally
us, hey,
questionable
come
territory.
on, lads, shut the fuck up by now. So I'll.
No, she wouldn't. Fliss is.
She'd give us a Paddington
militant
fucking
about
hard stare by now, I think.
Well, we've mentioned no names, so I think we're safe.
Yeah, we didn't even know a name.
The only reason I've not mentioned a name is because I can't remember it. But yeah, I'm sure if you a cursory check of Oder jerks on Reddit, and you'll
just a
dig
wall
up
of
name.
tooth enamel and fucking boob meat.
A wall. That sounds like the kind of like prompt you could put into an AI. Wall of tooth enamel and boob meat, please. In fact, I might try that and see what it spits out. Just like a stack of like steaks with like dentures on the top. Anyway,
it sounds like it's fitting for Halloween. That's to be fair.
Oh yeah, we should do a Halloween thing, but as usual, we are like chronically unorganised, so we don't have our spooky stuff for this week. Anyway, so where was I? I can't remember how we got there. Oh yes, Demi Rawling and Over the Musk. The other thing is, and I feel a bit weird about this, but I've had this now happen with a couple of perfumes in the last few months. These are perfumes that have been around for years and years and years, and I've always been very much of the I hate these, they're shit sort of view. And both of them have now just like, I don't know, they've just like kind of got me somehow. They've got their fucking claws into me. But one of them is Louis Vuitton Ombre Nomad, which just is fucking amazing. I don't understand why I didn't like it before. I mean, I've always had a real downer on it, but recently something just sort of clicked, and I was like, oh my god, this is fucking great. And then the same for Dior's Oud Ispahan, which again I've never enjoyed at all. But like in the last month or two. And arguably they're quite similar sort of perfumes in a lot of ways, and both of them just like grabbed me. You made a very big sort of noise there, James.
No, it's just I won't interrupt your flow at the moment.
No. Go ahead.
I've got Oud Ispahan, the Esprit, on this hand. Because I've been in your neck of the woods today. I went to see my friend in Manchester, and I thought, I'll
money on the map.
I was in Hume, and that's near where you live, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not far. But weirdly, I was in your neck of the woods because I had to take Lisa to Cheshire Oaks to return us like a sweater that was the wrong size. And I saw Tony Bellew.
Did you see Tony? He's Anthony Bellew now. He's Anthony. Honestly, come on.
Is he?
So
okay. Well, I mean, all right. Well, I mean, he's fucking massive. He's must be like 6'7" or something. I didn't realise. But
he's pretty tall. I don't think he's that tall, but he is tall. Yeah.
Well, he's tall as fuck. And
what height are you? No, what tall are you?
I'm a smidge under 6 foot. Like, not that I'm bitter about it, but I'm 5'11" and a 3/4. Or at least I was at my height. I guess I'm probably shrinking with age, as most of us are.
Well, you do, don't you? You lose a bit in your spine.
Yeah, gravity and all that.
See, this is like the collection, right? Because you're a smidge under 6 foot, it itches at your brain, right? I'm 5'8". I don't care about being 6 foot because I'm never getting there. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how big my shoes are, I'm still going to be 5'8". So I don't care about height. It's great.
Well, Tony Bellew, I looked at him and I did that thing, you know, where you sort of, you see someone and you recognise them and you go, all right, mate, like as though they're your mates, but then you sort of go, oh shit, no, they're not my mates, just some bloke off the telly. But he gave me a smile, which I thought was perfectly respectable. But yeah,
what
Tony
I was
Bellew.
joking about there with Tony Bellew, because I probably would have like said, all right, Tone, or something.
All right, Tony.
Because he at the end of his career, like the joke in the boxing community is that he always used to say, I just want to get home to my family. Like after every fight he'd be going on about, I just want to get home, I'll just do that for me missus and the kids and blah blah blah. And then he'd said when he finished his career, I've had a great career, I've done this, you're not going to see me now, mate, I'm just going to be, I'm not Tony Bellew anymore, I'm Anthony Bellew, I'm just going to fucking do. And he's been on everything. And like, you'd see him on fucking
he's a talking head. Wasn't he in like a fucking I'm a Celebrity or something as well?
Yeah, he does every opportunity. I mean, good for him. You know, he's a likable screen presence. Why not do it? And you know, he's made a lot of money in his career, but he's carrying it on, and he's quite a likable sort of person. So why not be on the telly? But
he was shopping in the Ralph Lauren outlet, which is cool because, like, clearly a guy with that sort of money does not need to, but he's certainly a man of the people. Yeah.
So good stuff. Yeah, I like Tony Bellew. I mean, I sort of followed his career as much as anybody else. I mean, he was always a good fighter, but he had kind of. Well, he did well. He did well for himself, and he got some good wins at the end. He was in a movie. He was world champion. He was in that movie. Yeah, he did. So he's had a good run. Career.
Anyway,
I mean, sorry. Anyway,
yeah.
Going off topic, right?
A little bit off topic.
So I was in your neck of the woods,
and I was in your neck of the woods.
Famous. Yeah,
right.
I didn't see anybody famous, really? But I did see my mate, and my mate was like, I noticed this the other week. Right, I was on Instagram, and I noticed that this mate that I went to see had liked some posts by, I'm not even, can you bleep this out in the fucking edit, Ben? Noted aromas.
Oh, yeah. Fucked.
Yeah. And the thing is about this guy, he works in he's a videographer. I won't go into too much detail, but he does a lot of stuff. Like he went to the UFC the other week, like they fly him out to fucking Las Vegas. He does some cool work, right? And it's all based on like brands and, you know, marketing shit, but he does all the video kind of work for it. And he says, you know, it's a lot less glamorous than it seems, but I'm like, I don't get to go and watch the fucking UFC. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, and yeah, so he basically was telling me, and I said, he goes, oh, I've got this noted. He goes, you'll probably hate this. You'll fucking hate me. And I was like, yeah, I do hate you. I saw that you like that post the other day, and I thought, what a cunt. Why is he doing that? And then he was like, no, but it's really good. And he did smell fucking nice, to be fair. And I said, no, clones, they are what they are, and it's fine. But I just don't like that. You know, it's like somebody copying your fucking artwork or, you know, whatever. I was trying to give him some fucking things. Anyway, that aside, they're still annoying me, by the way. There's clone fucking things everywhere. Just like my algorithm or whatever, they're all like, do you want this? No, I definitely don't want this. And there's a lot of people going, oh, we make all our own fucking oils in the UK. There's one with this kind of informal podcasty interview.
Oh, no, I hate it.
People. I know, it just fucking does, man. Anyway, let's not talk about that because I've ranted enough about that. So the things that I tried today, so I thought I'm going to try some shit. So I'm wearing the Oud Ispahan fucking Esprit. Here's my take on the Esprit.
Hang on, before you give us your take, let me just say that is the fucking brilliance of the Les Ouds, because we just did a fucking 15-minute round the fucking house covering Tony Bellew's career, and you still managed to get it back to the fucking Dior Oud Ispahan, which was the trigger point for the conversation. Well done.
Oh,
that's
well,
fucking magic.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's magic. So you hate it, don't you?
Love it.
No
right?
way.
So I rocked up to the fucking Dior counter. I'm looking at them. There's 4 of them there. So I had been in contact with Rich Mitch on my way home and said, "Oh, I've tried all 4 of those fucking." There's actually 5. He said, and yeah. Well, the guy said to me, so I tried 4 of them, and he goes, one of them's been nicked. One of the testers has been nicked. He said, some kids came round, nicked it before. He said, it's not here, but I've got one in the back. I'll spray it for you. And it was Rouge Trafalgar.
Rouge Trafalgar.
Yeah. So I've done a Rouge Trafalgar. So there's actually Gris Dior, Amber Nuit, which we'll fucking talk about in a minute, Oud Ispahan, and Lucky.
Lucky. Sorry, you're quite right, yeah.
So I thought, because Lucky is quite a soft, white floral, very kind of minimal, jasmine-y sort of thing, but very nice and sort of fresh. I actually thought that higher concentration is probably better. Just from, again, this is smelling it on a card. The guy went, "Oh, I think I recognise you." I said, "Yeah, I think I recognise you from the previous visits to another Dior thing." And he was like, "I'm going to test you with these." He goes, "You have to guess which one's which." And I was like, "Motherfucker,
I'm the motherfucking arbiter."
You picked the wrong fucking guy here. I think you're gonna. So anyway, but he threw the Rouge Trafalgar in there because it wasn't on the thing, so I didn't know, right? And I was like, I still got it fucking right anyway. And I was like, what's this one then? I said, "You've sprayed one of these twice," and he was like, no. But anyway, so I've sprayed I really like. Now I'm not that up on Oud Ispahan, right? I remember trying it when it came out and going, yeah, that's a big, massive, powerful Oud Rose. Oud Rose was all the rage at the time. And I was like, yeah, that's going to do well. It did do well. I know it's a good perfume and it was kind of iconic in the range and great and all that. Just didn't really appeal to me, right? So I don't have that much experience of how it's changed, because I just don't, I just don't bother with it because it's not necessarily my thing. But I appreciate it was a big, powerful Oud Rosy type thing. So this, I would say, is not very rosy. I'd say it's much more that opulent, saffron-y, twangy, leather oudy sort of vibe. I like it a lot. I think it's good, but again, it's a modern kind of thing. The others, Lucky, like I say, is probably an improvement. Gris Dior was nice, but again, it's pretty boring. Rouge Trafalgar, not my thing, just kind of big rosy sort of celebration of whatever. Okay, let's come to the final one. Amber Nuit, which it bears no resemblance to Amber Nuits that you've known from the past, right? It is nothing like it whatsoever. And albeit for the nice top notes and stuff, I can still smell it now and it was doing my head in, right? It kind of reminds me a little bit more of something like Fahrenheit Parfum, that one, which I love, by the way. A kind of boozy, sort of woody accord. I think Rich Mitch was saying about a sandalwood accord and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, I can get that. It's got a slight, that kind of heavy, sort of woody kind of feel to it. I really don't like it. Like I say, I like some of the top notes. I like the sort of sweetness in the initial spray. And I went, oh, that's nothing like Amber Nuit. But why sully the name of Amber Nuit by create another perfume? Like, it's a totally different perfume. It doesn't even resemble, apart from amber, but how broad a church is that? You know, and to not even it, for it not even to be anything like the previous ones, I think is wrong, really. And if that is a reflection on Francis Kirkchand's his tenure, whatever you fucking call it, at Dior, it's been very poor. Even the guy behind the Dior counter, I'm not going to throw him under the bus or say where he was or anything, but I mean, narrow it down.
He was in Manchester.
Yeah. So it can be one of two places. But anyway, he basically said, Yeah, I'm not really impressed. In fact, we've taken Eau Noir, the fucking one that's really popular in France,
Bois d'Argent.
Bois d'Argent, and the other one that he remade. I said, have they been discontinued now? No, they're just so poor sellers that we put them under the counter. We don't even bother getting them out.
Fucking hell.
And he said that's like across the board. They're just shit and no one wants them. And it was just a flop, total failure. And so everything he's done basically since he's been there has been subpar, not great. I know it's big shoes to fill. He's gone into a big brand. He's got his own big brand of his own, right? Which it may be a problem. I don't know. But, you know, people who are more bothered about it than me are a lot more passionately, he get him out. They need somebody to come in and really stir things up there. But I don't think that's going to happen, is it?
Okay, so go on, Ben. Sorry, you go.
Don't you think that the choices for this Esprit collection is really bizarre as well? Like Rouge Trafalgar, Lucky, Gris Dior. Like, surely you would have picked your like big heavy hitters. Like, I don't get it. Like,
what would you have picked?
Well, I mean, for starters, I think I probably would have bought back the lavender one that everybody loves, Fève de Lucius or whatever. I mean, that surely is ripe because everybody loves that, right? And it's a big perfume. It's quite a statement perfume. I think the thing is like Rouge Trafalgar for starters is just I've not smelt the Esprit, but the original was such a nothing perfume. It was such a bland sort of basic. It was in that vein of that. They had a few, didn't they? They had Gypsy Rose or Rose Gypsy or whatever, and Sakura and Rouge Trafalgar all sort of came out, and they were all kind of the same sort of pink florals, bit wishy-washy, musky, cloudy, nice, but forgettable, you know, really. And it seems weird that they would pick Rouge Trafalgar. And I mean, Gris Dior, maybe because it's got the name and the heritage, you know, of Gris Dior, but Lucky again, you just think, what? Like, come on.
Well,
just a white
Lucky,
floral.
I think Lucky was one because Lucky's got a bit of a story behind it, so it's got the kind of Dior heritage that I think didn't they used to spray the clothes with Lucky, or there was some kind of thing of like a little note that was put in something that said Lucky, or there's some kind of history behind that. So I kind of understand that one. As you say, Gris Dior's got the name, you know, it's in the name. But maybe if he'd have gone, right, let's bring back, what was the one, Blanche, what was that called?
Blanche Bette. No, Blanche Bette is...
what the fuck was that called? Or like Granville, or like just do something completely fucking off the wall. Just go, right, let's bring back Leather Oud. Do you know what I mean? Or just something like, you know, like that. That would have been more impactful. But they didn't do that. So yeah, I mean, I like to say the Oud Ispahan, which I'm not very familiar with, but I really like that one, and I thought that was good. So yeah, on the whole, not so great. And then the price, my God, how much are they? 360 quid.
360 quid for 80 mil.
That's mental. That is mental. Like who's paying that? Like, you know, it's fucking crazy, man.
People with lots of money, I expect.
Yeah, I know. And I hate to moan about like money, but it's like everything. Like I tried Blackalaka by Tom Ford. Do you know what? I'm really impressed with that one and the Mer one from last year. I hadn't tried that. I fucking love both of them.
I want to go back to the Dior thing, but on the Black Lacquer, was I smoking crack when I said that I thought it was in the Gucci Pour Homme 2 sort of vein? Yes.
I'll be honest, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Right. Well, I did say
if that's what you
think,
then that's
well,
fine.
Exactly. Who are you to tell me what I think?
Well, it's only the arbiter, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that Mer Mystery or whatever, fuck me, that is great. That is awesome.
Oh, I didn't like that.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
That was very foodie, I thought.
It is a bit foodie, but...
But I mean, just on the Oud Ispahan stuff. I mean, so I too am no great expert in Oud Ispahan. I've tried it multiple times down the years, never liked it, and then something just recently clicked, and I bought an old like 2013 bottle which had like a bit left in it, really just to see what it was like, and it's everything you said about the rose oud, but it's also got this kind of this really big patchouli sort of heart, and weirdly I found it slightly reminiscent of Balenciaga Pour Homme, with the sort of spiced patchouliness of it, but then sort of sandwiched between a rose and an oud. And it, for me, it's just fucking magical. But I don't get a lot of resemblance, really, between that and the Esprit version. In the same way that you described, like, the others not really being that connected to the original. I mean, I quite like the Ispahan Esprit, but it doesn't really smell a lot like the original one.
Okay, well, I've got it on my skin here, and it's pretty dank, mate. It smells like fucking, like, quite real oudy. I know it's not, essentially, but it's quite dirty on my skin now. Like, for all its modernness, it's fucking pretty earthy and kind of, yeah. I found it very leathery.
It
is leathery, yeah. It's almost to that kind of, we're talking about leather oud. It almost has some element of that to it.
My wife hated it. She said, "I don't like that perfume you're wearing. It fucking stinks." She's like,
well,
fair enough, love.
On that. So the final thing that I had to be quite concise with what I was trying. I went to Tom Ford. I tried those two Tom Fords. I really liked the black lacquer. It has a real lacquer kind of plasticky sort of opening smell, but then it really settles down. Both very resinous. So that and the Myrrh one. I thought the Myrrh one was fucking spectacular. And these are very tropey, like it kind of harked back to that excitement that you used to get when you go and try the Tom Fords, when you'd be like, oh, right here. And, you know, they were quite like full on, very rich perfumes. And you kind of knew what you were going to get at different extremes of different things. But those two really good releases. Again, with the price, what the fuck, man? They're 295 quid, right? You're taking the piss for 50 mil. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, it comes in a nice slick, you know, fucking Kit Knight Rider fucking bottle with, like, you know, black plaque on it. I mean, come on. All right, yeah, it looks great. But those used to be 120, 130. Well, they were 140 for ages, but I'm sure they used to be about a little bit cheaper than that when they first came out. And then now you're paying 295 quid. I wasn't born in the fucking 40s. I'm not going, oh, it should have been 10 shillings in my day and all that shit. They're fucking, you know, it wasn't that long ago. It's not like, you know, inflation or anything. It's just greed is what it is. Fucking greed.
It would be interesting to know, actually, when did... I might even just look it up quickly, but it would be interesting to know what a pound... when they bought it out would be worth today, just so you're comparing, because I think there's been a surprising amount of actual inflation as well as just kind of price gouging inflation.
I'm sure there has.
Top of it.
I'm sure there has. Yeah.
But I thought the Myrrh Mystérieuse, or whatever it's called, it's interesting you say tropey. I mean, it smelled derivative to me. It smelled unoriginal and just a bit dreary. And it wasn't horrible or anything, but it's like, okay, I sort of expect a little bit more avant-garde from Tom Ford. Perhaps my expectations are completely unfair in that regard.
I just love the smell of it. I've got to say, I love the way it's transitioned, the way it smells on this little card now. I'm pretty, like, enamored with it, to be honest. Spraying it in the shop, immediately I could smell actual myrrh, which a lot of the time there's myrrh in the name of perfumes, and you're like, that doesn't even smell like myrrh. And it's not even hard to put myrrh in real myrrh in a perfume, because it's, you know, pretty abundant and probably not that expensive or what. You know what I mean? It's not like inaccessible, and there's ways of kind of making a nice myrrh perfume. But I think the truth is, myrrh is not very. I don't think it's an acquired taste, to be honest. But anyway, that doesn't matter because it's part of a composition here that's much sweeter and resinous and lots of other stuff going on. And the fact that, yeah, it's dried down to this lovely smell. I just really like it. And I like the black lacquer. So there's 2 from Tom Ford. I'm really surprised. I'm really happy that they're there, but I'm not happy that they're that expensive because I potentially would like to add at least the myrrh one to the collection. I don't know if that's any cheaper. So, sorry, the third place. So we're talking about stinky things, right?
Stinky things.
Yeah. I went to the Ormond Jane just because I know you've been talking about some things. And I tried the new cashmere one, and I tried 2 ouds that I hadn't tried. So there was a Cambodian oud.
Oh, yeah.
In a kind of opaque bottle. And there was another oud that the name escapes me.
Arabesque?
No, that one was there, but it's another one. It's actually got oud in the name. Like it's almost
Fleur.
No, it's almost not Neo Aberfood because I know that one, but it had something almost that. Anyway, so that one, that was kind of okay. There's a gentle oud thing to this. Then I was trying the Cambodian, and the sales assistant was like, "Oh yeah, there's that Cambodian one there. Like I'll warn you," kind of thing. He was like, "It's
quite stinky."
And I was like, "Oh, so because he was really very hard sell, trying to encourage me to buy. He's going, look, we've got this really good free gift. Can't you just buy this? Blah blah blah." And I had to kind of be like, "No, like I'm not going to buy anything today. I'm sorry." But anyway, so he was grimacing, right? Because he was spraying it, because he was obviously trying to be all like, "Oh yeah, it's amazing," and he clearly he wanted me to get that because it was the height,
visibly grimacing,
but he could not. And I said, "You don't like it, do you?" And he was going, and he couldn't say because he's like, "This is my brand, and I'm on this kind of thing," and he couldn't say that he didn't like it, but I could tell he didn't like it, and I was like, "I fucking love this." I look.
Really?
It just smells like oud. Do you know what I mean? I can't really detect any other notes or any other. It smells like oud oil, right? And it's 350 quid or whatever it is. And I was like, well, yeah, it's probably probably worth that, just because I can smell that this is real oud and it is pretty intense. So that's all I've been trying today.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's quite a lot to get through. When you go to the shops, you go hard.
Well, I only went to 3 places, so there were things that I was like, I'm going to try. Usually, I'd try a lot more than that, but I don't like the hard sell either. That's really off-putting to me. I like the way that the Dior guy was willing to slag off Kirkjan. I like the way that he was willing to just offer up, inside sort of information about, or these aren't doing very well. Or he actually said he was talking too fast, so I couldn't hear exactly what he was saying, and he was kind of dealing with another customer at the same time. So good for him for spreading himself around. But I think he said, well, he definitely did say that they'd actually brought back some of they weren't discontinued, but they were ones that they don't normally put out with the main collection. But he said, we've brought back like 2 or 3 of the Demachy ones in favour of those ones that they've put in the back from the Kirkjan. So what does that say? And I sprayed that purple oud again. And I tried that one. Yeah. I was like, yes, I really like that. But I'm just saying about the hard sell. It kind of ruins my experience of going to try perfume. It's bad enough as it is because you got loads of fucking knobheads around and it's all loud and I'd hate feeling like rushed and forced and like, do you like this? Do you want it? Do you want me to ring it up for you? No, like, and they don't give out any samples. They know that I'm a fucking person who's like, and sometimes I do the little patronising, like give them a little spiel about when they try and tell me about stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, do you know about this? And they're like, yeah, you know, I've had the training course or whatever. Or they just go, no, don't know what you're on about, sort of thing. And you're like, okay, you're supposed to engage with the customers, and I get that they're busy and whatever, and they don't want to stand there with somebody who's not going to spend any money like me talking shit about perfumes. But at least, I don't know, I'd feel that I'd want to engage with people like that to give a good impression and whatever. And I don't know, it just feels a bit like they're trying to ram you through and get you and go, well, if you don't want anything, fuck off then. Do you know what I mean? That's the attitude that I kind of get. I don't know how much perfume shopping you go out and do, but I feel under pressure when I'm in there. I don't feel relaxed.
I never buy anything. Oderants, by the way.
Have you just found their OnlyFans?
Yeah, just in case anyone was wondering what the answer to the previous question was.
So we have named it.
Yeah. No, I've just named somebody.
Oh, okay.
It was a name provided entirely out of context. At least that's my legal defence, and I'm sticking with it. No, when I go shopping, I tend to not buy anything because you always know you're going to get fucking rinsed at the retailers anyway. So find the thing you like and go and find it cheaper elsewhere. So plus also I think you make bad decisions in actual perfume stores because you get this sort of sensory overload from having hundreds and hundreds of different smells all battling for your
absolutely
nose,
do. Yes, 1,000%.
And you end up just going, I can't really tell. This smells pretty good, but you end up probably just buying the thing that is strongest because it's the thing that cuts through the noise the most.
Yeah.
So I honestly, despite my reckless behaviour, I'd rather blind buy stuff. And then take my time to figure out whether I like it or not, and then sell it again if I don't like it. I'd rather do that than actually buy something in a store that I had tried once, at the store. Yeah. You just make bad decisions. But Ben, have you managed to try any of these new deals yet?
I've not tried any of the new Esprit ones at all. There's nothing around here where I can smell them, I don't think. Which is a shame.
Bastards.
I'd have to go up to London, but
London.
What do you have in Brighton in terms of?
It's not a great deal. We got Penhaligon's, and then there is like the individual designer shops that sometimes carry their perfumes, but not always. And then aside from that, it's just the usual. Like there's a Flannels, there's a Boots, there's a perfume store. That's about
do Flannels have perfume? Do they?
Flannels have perfume, but
not
it tends
a
to be
deal.
It tends to be prestige stuff. Like look at my Creed collection. It tends to be a lot of Creeds and. Just on that related note, someone mentioned on the Facebook group that when we cite the names of shops in the UK, that doesn't travel well to the States. So they're like, well, what does Boots mean? I was like, okay, so Boots is like your high street pharmacy type,
like CVS. I think they're called in the States.
Is that what they call it? Yeah, I don't know. Like Dwayne Reed, is that a chain of pharmacy? Sounds like some sort of football player, to be honest. But I'm sure Dwayne Reed
the draft. Yeah, it does.
And that, our American listeners, is exactly what Americans sound like to us.
This is quite an embarrassing story. I'll tell it anyway. It's a podcast.
Good.
So, yeah, good, exactly. It meets the criteria. That's good. So I went to America. I was in New York. And I went to a CVS, one of those like pharmacies. And I went in and like I was going, I'm just nipping out because it was like downstairs. We were by like Madison Square Garden, like where our hotel was. And I was like, I'm just nipping over to the pharmacy. Do you want anything? And Jenny said, yeah, can you get me some tampons? Right. And I was like, not really, but yeah, all right, go on then. Okay. So I went over and I was walking around and I was like, this is bewildering. This is the biggest fucking pharmacy I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just walking around like, and I went up to this girl and I said, excuse me, where's the like feminine hygiene products? And she honestly could not understand. I might have been fucking talking a different language. And she went, we don't sell fish hooks. Fish hooks, right? And I was like, no, like feminine hygiene, you know, like, and she was going, I don't know what you mean, and all this. I was going, I'm trying to explain to her. I was like, you know, like for fucking when you're in period and stuff. She was like just she was talking about fish hooks, and she was asking the manager, going, this guy wants fish hooks. What? Like, we don't sell fish hooks, do we? I was like, where's she got fucking fish hooks from? Like, bizarre.
Did you get the tampons
in the end? Yeah. I got someone who like could understand English. You know, someone actually speaking fucking English. But anyway,
amazing,
bizarre.
Absolutely amazing. Right, well, I have checked, and Duane Reade is indeed a chain of pharmacies in New York, so I didn't just make that up. As well as being clearly a good generic name for a sports person / globetrotter. So I forget where we got to.
Flannels.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like Sephora,
Flannels.
I would say.
Well, Flannels is a clothing store, right? I mean, Flannels is where you buy like.
It's where you get your Moncler beanies, isn't it?
It's where Moncler, CP, Stone Island, that sort of stuff. It's street fashion, I guess you'd call it, or I don't know. It's a bit chavvy these days.
I went in there the other day, right, and I went to buy a jacket. I went to buy a CP jacket, right, and I seen it on the website. So I went in there, and literally the whole time I was in there was these 4 roadmen walking around on the phone to each other, being followed by the rest of the shop, who were like, because clearly they were in there like lifting stuff, right? So they had these 4 roadmen walking around coordinating with each other to what they can lift, whilst the rest of the staff were following them around coordinating on the walkie-talkies. And I just wanted to try a fucking jacket on. And the girl was like, I'll be with you.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
The girl was like, I'll be with you in a minute. And I was like, to be fair, it looks like you got your hands full. Just take your time. I was like, it's fine. I'll just stand here. But it was a nightmare. Absolute shithole.
I walked past today the like kids designer section, and I just saw a whole row of like Stone Island stuff for like little toddlers. I was like, they're not into fucking football violence, are they, at that age? Surely not.
They are.
Yeah, they clearly are.
So the first time I went to New York, we went in the Lacoste store in New York, and I figure if there's one place you're going to find Scousers in New York, it's in the Lacoste store. Yeah.
They take the piss out of me at tennis because all my stuff's Lacoste, right?
It's such an iconic brand for Scousers. But so we went in the store, and sure enough, there was this voice going, "Hey, do you have any baby Lacoste, mate?"
Baby Lacoste.
Baby Lacoste. Why Lacoste for his babies? Anyway, so, God, another ridiculous diversion. But I think the point was that the names of the stores don't travel well. So the stores that you do have are in Brighton are Flannels, which is like streetwear with a little bit of fragrance. Boots, which is Duane Reade. Number 1 draft pick. And what else have you got?
Penhaligon's, yeah. And then after that, it's literally like the fragrance store, which is like mall, high street trash. So they actually do have a Tom Ford counter in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is because James saying about that Black Lacquer. I'm going to actually go to the fragrance store next week to have a sniff of it and that Mer one if I can. Because weirdly, there's just like this whole shop full of like tat, sort of like, you know, CK1 on the counter, that sort of thing. And then in the corner, they've just got this little corner dedicated to Tom Ford, and it's all just like it's really out of place. But it works. For Tom Ford
sometimes they don't have the private blends though. Sometimes they just
that's it. It's the whole thing is the Tom Ford private blends like corner.
Oh,
it's
what?
bizarre
Really?
as anything. Yeah, really weird. And it's in the middle of the mall next to a Millie's Cookies or whatever it's called, and it's just
Nice.
really weird.
So you haven't tried the Dior's. What have you been smelling this week? Because otherwise, this part of the episode is never going to end.
Yeah, all right. So, well, I had COVID, so I didn't really smell a lot. But just before I got COVID,
sorry, that didn't sound very sincere. Did it?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Well, that's what COVID's come to these days, isn't it? It's like, oh right, you've had COVID, yeah, cool, whatever. Everyone's had that. It's a bit passé now, isn't it? It's not fun. But yeah, I before I came down with that, I picked up from your fragrance group actually. Fragrances English Hay, which Claire put together, was James Walpole's creation. Before he passed away, and she sort of boxed up a few and put them together and sold them for charity for Mind. Now I got it purely for the donation to Mind because I was like, "Fuck that, yeah, cool, I'll donate to Mind." And if I get a perfume out of it, great. Actually, it's brilliant, and I fucking love it. And it blew me away how good it was. And it wasn't because, to be honest, like I say, I bought it purely on the donation thing. I didn't really care what the fragrance was going to be like. You know, I just thought I can like Rauch it or whatever if worse comes to worse. And so I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, the name English Hay gives you a bit of an idea. But first sprayed it, barnyard as all hell, like proper muck spreading. And that sort of surprised me because I was like, that's great, I love that. And then that did tone down after about 10 minutes, which is actually I would like to have stuck around, but that's sort of, whatever. And it turns into a very sweet and actually reminded me a lot of Isara by Decita, but sweeter, much sweeter, and more, everything about it more sledgehammery. But I like that, it's got that kind of sledgehammery sort of indie vibe to it, which I've always liked. I've always said I enjoy that. But, I really liked it. It was a big surprise, and I really was pleased, actually, with how good it was. Because I wasn't expecting, I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, yeah, whatever. And
I mean, it's probably worth just mentioning for listeners a little bit about that because James Walpole was a lovely guy who lived in Bristol, I think. He's Bristolian. And James sort of was a keen amateur perfumer. And I tried English Hay in a few different iterations as he was developing it. And he was sort of meticulous about it and meticulous about the packaging and everything. And he really, he was really quite passionate about this brand that he was trying to launch called as in that smells great. What is it? Which I think was meant to be the sort of the background. Anyway, James sadly, James struggled with mental health problems, and unfortunately, James is no longer with us. And Ben. He's talking about a fragrance that James had essentially got ready to sell but never got round to it, and a sort of a mutual acquaintance had gone and sort of finished the job and bottled it and such and is making it available. And I think actually what I'll probably do is just put their details into the Les Oderants Facebook group just so that if anyone would like to buy a bottle, largely in order to make a donation to Mind, the mental health charity, they should go ahead and do that. So yeah, sorry to go all maudlin, but I felt it was probably worth explaining for the background. But yeah, I tried it as well as it went through. I don't know why I've had this thing about not wanting to buy a bottle. There's something, I don't know why. See, I just haven't quite got round to it.
I can understand there's probably a lot of personal sort of things there. So you know what I'm like on the group. I'm like the most antisocial guy there is. No one knows who I am. I don't really know anyone on the group really. So I didn't know James. I never spoke to him. But I just did it for the Mind donation. So I sort of went into it with no sort of sentimental attachment. other than I knew the backstory, obviously, because I do read the groups, I just don't really get involved. So I knew the backstory, but I had no sort of expectation or attachment to it at all. And yeah, I just sort of like, just based on that, which I suppose is possibly the best kind of angle to come at it from, you know, to be subjective at least, or objective rather, or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah, I just thought it was a fucking excellent perfume. I really enjoyed it. I wore it loads.
Did you say it's called something Hay?
English
Hay. Well, it's interesting that you compare it to the Dusita, because she's very fond of a Hay note, isn't she? Yeah. And I believe that is a natural. She'll probably use the Hay Absolute, which is a really amazing material. There's another one called Bran Absolute. I don't know if you've ever smelled that, Ben.
I've not, no.
I think I might have some. We need to do a materials episode anyway, so I'll
certainly do.
Send some.
It's been a while.
But yeah, I mean, they're all got these really interesting, faceted kind of smells that really, they work well with a lot of things. You know, they give like this natural, kind of, sort of earthiness, but like straw, hay, you know, and it's almost edible as well. You know, it's got kind of really strange.
It's excellent, man. I love it, and the presentation's really nice as well. It's like comes in like a little kind of cork box, and but yeah, no, I thought it was really excellent, and it is heavy with the Hay Absolute. You can smell that the formula must be fairly heavy with that, and but there's. I like the sweetness in it, in that because Hay Absolute has a sweetness to it anyway. But it's kind of enhanced with like he's not gone with like vanilla or anything like that, and it's more like balsamic sort of sweetness.
Right.
I guess coumarin, things like that, maybe as well.
Right.
Because there's like a wateriness to it, which leads me to believe it's perhaps coumarin, something like that. But it's really lovely, man. Starts off absolutely filthy as well, like proper muck spreading. I really like that. It's super barnyard. But yeah, then it dries down something really nice. It reminded me mostly of either Erewhon or Issara, which both kind of similar, but just more brutal. Whereas Issara is very, you catch it on the breeze every now and then, and it's very understated and classy. This is like none of those things. It's more just like have some of that, which I like it. I like it. I think it's great.
I've just got out my bottle of Erewhon, which I absolutely love. So absolutely classy perfume. Okay, well, I'm sort of conscious we've been babbling on a bit. Is there any other perfumes other than the part 2s that you want to mention?
Yeah, no, that's it. Part 2 stuff, and that's it for me. So just that. It's just the English Hay, really. But yeah, a pleasant surprise, because to be honest, I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I thought it was brilliant. And like you say, if we do put the details on, I would recommend everyone pick it up, because it's fucking
the only other notable thing that I have been wearing is my bottle of Alain Delon Iquitos.
Arrived.
Fucking good. I got it in the summer, but I haven't really worn it very much. I think I wore it once, and I was like, yeah, it's great, you know, but that it is spectacular, and it's been kept so well that the top notes, it feels intact to me. I mean, it's from the 80s, 90s, is it? I don't know. But it is a spectacular, like really, really amazing perfume. So, yeah, I've worn that a few times. But that's about it, really. So, a bit of a vintage one there, which could be hit and miss, but that is definitely a hit.
I think Alain Delon died
He did die recently, I was going to say. I don't normally. I mean, it's a bit fucking twatty, isn't it, to put up like tributes and stuff to people? But I just happened to see a picture of him in his youth, and I was like, reckon he's a pretty good-looking guy, you know. So
he's a handsome motherfucker.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you know, hello, hello, Alan. So I put up a little picture of him and just went, fucking hell, he was a good-looking man, and that was about it. So.
There's a fantastic picture of is it Marianne Faithfull is sat between Alain Delon and Mick Jagger, and Mick Jagger's basically Just
Oh yeah. I've seen that,
he's like asleep and just totally giving the cold shoulder because Alan Delon is genuinely the most handsome motherfucker at the party. Okay, well, look, so obviously, I think what's always interesting is to know how much stuff got cropped out of the show because it was kind of libelous. So just for everybody who's listening, we've now been recording for some 2.5 hours. So whatever's left out of 2.5 hours that you get in part one, that's how much we've had to crop out because it's libelous. Absolutely true. I did not make any of that up. Right, look, we're going to take a short break, enjoy some medicating libations, and we will be back in a few short minutes with part 2 of Les Oderants. Stick with us. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, hello and welcome back to part 2 of Les Oderants. This week we are taking a bit of a journey through everybody's favourite perfume impresario and definitely 100% a perfumer. It's ROja Dove. Now the first thing I want to talk about ROja Dove is the absolute fucking bizarreness of the pronunciation of his name. It's
I always thought it was Roja.
Yeah. Or Roja, if you're Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a red pigeon. No, it's just Roger. It's just Roger. He was born Roger Bird. Plain old Roger Bird.
His head office is Brighton, isn't it?
Is that right?
From me.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know if it still is, but it was a few years back. It was just down the road from me.
You go around, say hello. All right, mate.
All right, Rog.
All right, Rog. Uncle Roger. I, being the sad bastard that I am, have quite a lot of ROja Dove perfumes, and so I sent out some samples to all the Les Oderants. I even sent them to Fliss. So this was before Fliss did her grand, like, hey, you cunts, I can't fucking show up for a little bit. So I would like, as part of our review of these, to have a think about what we think Fliss might make of them, and then she can shout at the fucking radio or whatever device she's listening on at us about how right or wrong we are. Make sense?
Yeah. Can I just say that thing about the name, and this is just to piss Americans off. It's very Hyacinth Bouquet, isn't it?
You're really after the Americans today, aren't you? You're like James is not fucking having it.
Yeah, it smacks of Patricia Routledge. Google it, you fuckers.
Patricia Routledge.
You know, it was what was it called? Keeping Up Appearances, where she was called Hyacinth Bucket. And she said, "It's
Bucket,
Bouquet,
yeah.
it's Bouquet,
it's Bouquet, darling."
Yeah.
But what was the Patricia Routledge bit? Was that the name of the actress?
Yeah, that's the actress. I believe
right.
so. I might have got that wrong, but I think that's
you
what
may
she was
be
called.
right.
No, but
what was her husband called in that? The long-suffering. She had a brother.
He was called Richard.
A brother.
It was the brother-in-law was called Onslow.
Onslow, that's it. Onslow.
He was like a proper string vest, fucking Nancy Nesbitt type character.
Absolutely, brilliant. Oh, fucking hell, well done. Have you watched that recently, or did you just pull that from the memory?
I remember it, but I have seen it recently as well. I mean, it was a funny series, you know.
Oh my god! Sorry, and in typical fucking diversionary technique, while talking about watching things, I watched the most fucking bananas movie ever, which I'm sure you both will have either seen or at least have some knowledge of, and the movie is called Woman of the Hour.
Oh, I've seen the trailer for it on Netflix.
Okay, and it is based on the true story of a woman who ended up on, I think it's called The Dating
Blind
Game.
Date.
Is it? Yeah, like Blind Date in the States.
Just for the Americans there, Blind Date with Cilla Black. You cunts.
Yeah. Surprise! No, what? That was surprise! It was a different show.
She's down the Lacoste shop with Bellew.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell.
That's why he was at the Oaks. He was in the Lacoste shop with his fucking toddler.
He was. He was. He had his toddler with him. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, with a serial killer. She ends up on this fucking TV show with a serial killer who... and it's all based on a true story. The serial killer was called...
Alcala?
Yes.
Something like that?
Yes. Was
Alcala? Alcala?
Yeah. Was it Raymond Alcala or something?
Richard, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Ben? Because I only watched the trailer last night.
I've not seen the film. I've not seen the film, but I know the story roughly.
It's fucking...
Rodney. It's Rodney, isn't it? Rodney Alcala.
All right. So Rodney Alcala here. Yeah. Just an average serial killer. I like to fucking murder people, innit? Yeah, I don't think he sounded like that. But anyway, it's a fucking brilliant movie. Absolutely brilliant. But a really hard watch. Like, really some fucking challenging moments in it. But I'd have thought the serial killer thing and the fucking just the whole, I guess, the serendipity of it all, like, just complete madness. Anyway, nothing to do with perfume, but a great fucking movie to check out on Netflix. Anyway, ROja Dove, Hyacinth Bouquet, all that jazz. We're going to talk about some of his perfumes. Now, should we just pick a perfume and get into it, and then we can sort of tear apart the whole ROja Dove thing, if you like, as we go. James, why don't you pick one that you had a strong feeling about?
I don't know if I don't recall having strong feelings about any of them, really.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
this is very out of character for you.
It is out of character because as much as, you know, we joke about ROja Dove and stuff, I actually pretty much every ROja Dove I've ever tried have been like, wow, that is great.
Apart from the Parfum de la Nuit number 2, which I sent you, and you were like so fucking contemptuous of.
Probably.
And I was like,
yeah, I mean, there could be that one, I didn't think was great. And also, I bought another one while I was out in a retail environment. I ordered it from the ROja Dove website, stupidly. I ordered, because they didn't have the Discovery set that I wanted, so I ordered the women's Discovery set, like, the women's ones. And I think they were possibly colognes or slightly less concentrated, whichever range that was when they came out. I ordered that one. And there was like 7 or 8 perfumes, maybe 6, 7, 8, I don't know. And they were all shite, right? They were really derivative rubbish, right? And I was like, this is the only ROja Doves that I've ever tried that were not good, right? So I knew that there was... I was like...
until I sent you some.
No, do you know what? I'm not... No, right. I'm going to pick one. Okay, let's just sit around.
You're picking at random here.
I am. Enigma PPH. Let's do that one.
Yeah. So the PPH stands for Parfum pour homme, because there is Enigma Oud, there is Enigma pour femme, there is Enigma pour homme. I think there was an Enigma pour homme, and then there's the Parfum pour homme. This is a perfume
paper label, which I have, which the original one. Which you can
really? Get you. Fancy schmancy. It's probably a vintage, isn't it? Vintage,
it is a vintage paper label,
yeah.
Well, it smells pretty fucking similar to this, to be honest.
Yeah. I whenever I wear this, someone compliments me on it and says you smell great.
It does smell great.
And, I think it's fucking stupendous. I sprayed it years ago. I sprayed it in Selfridges on a test strip, and I gave it to my daughter and said, "What do you think of this?" And she smelt it, and she said, "It smells like wee and Coca-Cola."
She's not far off. She's not far
I was going to say, that's not bad.
That is a good nose there, you know?
Yeah. I was like, well done, sweetheart. That is impressive.
It's fantastic. I mean, it smells... I can smell a slight difference between this and mine. I think mine goes a bit more vanillic, a bit quicker, I'd say, maybe. But yeah, I'd say we and Coca-Cola ain't far off. It's got a fantastic, like, musky, like undertone to all that like sweetness. It's not that bullshit that you get with those kind of newfangled, oh, this is like angel share or all that kind of like crap, those gourmand things. This is like kind of rum. It's got like a sort of rum kind of like smell to it, almost like stewed down kind of like currants and berries and shit. Not shit, but you know what I mean? Piss, in fact. No, but it's got that like almost like sheeper-esque. It's not a sheeper at all, but it's like, it's got that kind of perfumey sort of thing to it. It's got like labdanum in it as well. And I just think it's really, as much as anything can be a signature of him, because let's face it, he's just kind of ripped off like Guerlain stuff and, done every trope there is possible. But he's done all the good perfumery tropes. To be honest, I think fundamentally, what is great about ROja Dove is that his actual taste himself is really good, right? And I think I think the whole brand is driven by the fact that he's got good taste and that he's got quite traditional taste in terms of like what perfume is kind of supposed to be. Okay, so I would say, and I love Enigma. This smells pretty similar to the Enigma I've got. Every time I wear it, people love it. I love it. I wear it. It makes me feel kind of special wearing this. And this is a sort of boozy kind of, like resinous vanillic kind of perfume, but it doesn't smell cheap. In fact, it smells very fucking expensive. I love it. I love it.
Ben?
Yeah, I can fully understand why it's popular, right? Because it's an easy sell, isn't it? It's sweet. It's sort of like, say, boozy. It's almost got that sort of spicy mulled wine element to it, at times. And do you know what it reminds me of? But a better, more refined version of L'Homme Idéal Parfum, Guerlain. But whereas L'Homme Idéal Parfum is a bit more sort of like, I don't know, a bit almost crass in comparison to this is sort of more refined. And underneath all that sort of foodier or sort of sweet elements to it, it has that kind of musky gentlemanness to it, like that kind of old school refined element that makes it almost sort of old school gentleman perfume, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know. That sounds a bit of a cop out to explain it like that, but I think people will know what I'm getting at. But I like it. I like it a lot, and I'm not. I've been pretty uncharitable to old people in the past.
Well, there's an understatement.
But I think today might surprise you. No, I like this a lot. I think it's great. I do. I like L'Homme Idéal Parfum, and this to me smells. I say like my brain's making parallels to that, but this is where L'Homme Idéal Parfum is a bit sicky and a bit over the top, and say sometimes a little bit crass. This is just the complete polar opposite of that. It's the sort of thing you would, if you want to wear L'Homme Idéal Parfum, but be a grown up at the same time and not feel like a cunt, then this is the one. Well, this is the sort of thing you'd reach for.
So I don't remember L'Homme Idéal Parfum. And you mentioning it, it's sort of somewhat banjaxes my hypothesis, which was that this is the only fragrance that doesn't strike me immediately as a derivative of some other fragrance. I mean, it seems to me that ROja Dove's stock in trade has been to draw. I mean, if we're kind about it, to draw inspiration from classical perfumes and to sort of have his interpretation or his spin sort of put on them. Like the Isola Blue, for example, is just Terre d'Hermès, but his spin on it. I think it'd be crazy to try and deny that there was some sort of lineage there. And indeed, why should he? It's an okay thing to do, is to take something iconic and if you can try and improve it, why not? But Enigma, to me, I feel like Enigma is quite an original one because I can't liken it to anything else, but then I don't know. I don't know
L'Homme Idéal. That's the thing. Like L'Homme Idéal Parfum, it was much later than this. I think by about 5 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this was Enigma Pour Homme was 2013, but
I mean, from memory, I would say L'Homme Idéal is about 2018, 2019,
Right.
something like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely precedes it by some time.
I think this is for me. I think this is just sensational, and you know, it's one of those perfumes that I can sort of admire it as a great perfume and say, well, this is brilliant, and also know that everyone's going to say you smell great, rather than, hey, yeah, that's a great perfume, but of course it smells like sort of turds marinated in fucking lilies or something. It's not like that at all. It's you know, this is a great perfume that's easy to like, which is
it's an easy sell, isn't it? It's so easy to like. It's got that cola-y sweetness, elements of sort of foodiness, elements of booziness, elements of spice. I think it's, like I say, there's not much in there that people would turn their nose up at.
My only criticism of it is that it can become a little bit exhausting if you sort of wear a lot of it, because it is very strong. It does go on for a long time, and if you overdo it, then I've found myself getting kind of weary of it for sure. You know, but that's not much of a criticism, if I'm honest. Cool. All right. Do you want to pick a different one, Ben?
Yeah, go on then. So let's pick one that I think will be a bit more controversial. Sweetie Oud. James clearing his throat, getting ready for this one. See, I like Sweetie Oud. In fact, it's the only Roja that I own.
Sorry, before we get into this, I said I'd do it and I didn't do it. What do we think Fliss would have made of Enigma?
I think she'll like it, but I don't think she'd be bowled over.
Agreed. I think you can almost go, if I love something, you can almost probably say that she won't like it unless it's a certain style of perfume that we kind of all, sort of our Venn diagram where it all, you know, crosses over. We know those kind of perfumes. There's sort of those kind of old school powdery, sheepery things with a bit of animalic. You know what we're all going to like. But I think this is too far outside of that to be that. So I think she probably would have liked some elements of it. But I don't think she'd be a fan, to be honest.
I would like to think she would be quite content to smell this on the husbeast, as she calls him. Yeah. Because I don't see how anyone could be offended by the fragrance, really. But
like I say, it's very
think
popular with other people. It's funny you should say I get loads of people saying that's really nice, and I'm like,
you smell great. Yeah,
I know.
I know. You smell great. I know. You cunt.
Yeah.
Cool. Ben, what was your take on Fliss's reaction to Enigma?
Yeah, I think she'd say she would have liked it, but nothing. I think it would be like, take it or leave it, not bowled over at all. Sort of, I think pleasant enough, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah, okay. I think probably I agree all round. Okay, sorry, Ben. So where were we going? Sweetie Oud, was it?
Yeah, Sweetie Oud, yeah. And it's the only Roja that I own.
Really?
And I do only own like a travel spray of it. But yeah, I liked it enough to... I had a decant of it and I liked it enough to buy it off of Fliss, weirdly enough. Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I do like Sweetie Oud, and it does a thing which is very unusual, and I don't understand it, and I don't understand the chemistry behind it, but it's that there's a Beaufort that does the same, the lemon cake Beaufort one, and that's that it makes an almost biscuity dry texture.
Yeah, biscuits.
That smells very like biscuits or cakes, like dry stale cakes almost, and it is a textural thing. It's not a smelling thing. It's a dry texture.
100%.
And I like that, and I'm really impressed by that whenever I smell that in perfumery. I just think that's great.
I would say
because it's so
almost
unusual.
what you're smelling there is a mixture of kind of sweet gourmand accord on top of your usual things like your ISOE Super and things like that. And it's bringing that kind of like... It makes them far less bland. It makes them... have the like texture. It is a texture. That is literally what it is. And because of all the sweet stuff on top, I think you perceive it as this dry crumb of like thing. But I think it is just things like your conventional kind of woody, almost like cedary kind of, like say like ISOE Super and stuff like that, or like Cedramber and shit like that.
I think
Lignum vitae is the Beaufort.
I know exactly
when
you said it. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, lemon drizzle cake. Yeah.
I think biscuit, by the way, is a word that doesn't travel well for our American
fuck's
listeners.
sake, Americans! Jesus Christ! You're gonna have to have fucking some kind of like, hey guys,
subtitles.
So it's just like pops in, and like,
cookie.
Yeah, like an audio.
It's cookie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a cookie.
Yeah, it is. But it you know, cookies tend to be like
too sweet. This is digestive.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
This is
It's got a
digestive
bit of
biscuit.
salty kind of thing
Yeah.
to it. No, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, biscuit comes from the French biscuit, doesn't it? For twice
Biscuit.
baked.
Fucking get a load
So,
of you,
well,
mate.
it means twice baked. So, you know, who's
Does it?
you know, are we supposed to fucking, you know, kowtow to their fucking culture and be like, oh yeah, let's, you know, say cookie, which is a fucking stupid. I mean, what's cookie? Like Cookie Monster? Fuck off, right? So, you know, biscuit.
You reckon if he was British, he'd have been the biscuit monster?
Yeah, that's true.
Probably. Or the honey
Anyway.
monster.
What biscuits would he eat though? Custard creams, I reckon.
Congratulations. This is the silliest fucking detour ever. Custard creams. I fucking hate custard creams. There's something wrong with me. My wife keeps telling me
There
there's
is,
something
yeah.
congenitally wrong with me that I don't like
custard
custard
cream
cream.
in a hot piping tea. You can't go much wrong with
no,
that.
the best biscuits for dunking, right? And I will literally fight anyone who says otherwise. Actually, I'm going to contradict myself now because there's two. But the best biscuits for dunking are chocolate hobnobs.
True. Have you been watching? Like Peter Kay made that joke, didn't he? Like years ago. Do you not remember that from a Peter Kay fucking? He was like, basically like rich tea are like, you know, they don't like you dunk them for like a second and you it drops in your brew, whereas like hobnobs are like fucking like Marines or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
yeah, they're just like, again, dunk me again. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Well, no, it's true. They're very.
I like a ginger biscuit for dunking in tea.
They're
as well,
good because they're very dense, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like spongy. They'll soak it up. But yeah, I don't like custard creams.
Come back, Fliss. You
but
need to rein us in. We're fucking all over the map tonight.
It's like the worst excesses of the Lesos. Like, just completely unmanageable.
It's like the jeopardy though of the rich teas is what gets it. You know,
You've
it's
got to
part of the
time it
enjoyment.
exactly.
It's-
Yeah, that's part of the fun.
It's nothing like a little bit of jeopardy with your cup of tea.
Rich tea are very low in sugar. So of all the biscuits, they
It's
have
because they're made of paper.
Well, yeah, but texturally, the sweetie oud is somewhere between a rich tea and a digestive, because I don't actually find it, despite the name sweetie oud, I don't find it all that sweet. It is more, as you say, biscuity, and I don't really like it. I'll be honest. I mean, I've got it, but I don't really like it.
Well, here's my hot
doesn't
take.
do anything for
it's
me.
fucking trash.
Hot take.
The berry is very tart, isn't it? That berryness that it's got is very forefront.
I
and
think
quite
so.
Tart.
I
and-
think so.
Yeah.
It's almost let's go to the Jammy Dodger here. You know,
yeah.
it's no. I'm joking about
Breaking
it being
out the
trash.
big guns.
I actually don't think it's trash, but by the same rule, it could be in a tin from Bobby Montel. It could, right? So I was very shocked when these came out because I remember smelling it in the shop and going, sweetie oud for a start. Okay, Rog, you know what I mean? You're going a bit like outside of your kind of this like highbrow fucking brand. To
Isn't the writing all in sort of baby blue
yeah,
as well
and it was like
on the bottle?
sweetie
Yeah,
oud.
it
I was
is.
like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
there's a candy oud with pink.
Candy
writing
oud.
as well.
Yes.
do you know
yeah.
what? I tried them all at the time and was like, fucking love all of those. I was like, I fucking love this. This is really nice. And I didn't want to because I was like, how much is it? Oh, like 400 quid. Oh, yeah, these are great. And I was like, there's no, what's the oud element about it? I mean, it's based on a kind of synthetic-y oud. I can kind of get it with the woody biscuitiness that we're talking about, maybe. And the fact that, okay, some oud has a fruity note or whatever. But, I mean, it's not really oud, is it? That's kind of deceiving. No. And it is the sweetness and that kind of berry note, because it is definitely a kind of, it's almost like some kind of berry drink or some kind of drink that would be fucking blue. You know what I mean? Like electric blue or some shit.
Yeah.
Like a kind of Powerade or some shit. So I kind of, it just doesn't fit. It didn't fit the brand aesthetic. It didn't fit what they were trying to do. But I kind of thought, okay, he's going a bit playful. And, you know, it's like one of his shirts or something, you know, and he's doing this kind of thing. So I gave it a sort of pass at the time, but I can't say that I particularly like it, to be honest. It's okay. It doesn't offend me. I just find it a little bit kind of juvenile. That's all.
I don't know about juvenile. It's the Tutti Frutti collection, by the way. Candy oud, fruity oud, and sweetie oud. I just don't like it. It feels like, I'm sure it smell okay on someone else, but I have worn it and just sort of gone, no, not for me at all, really. Yeah, it's just got something called a gourmand accord. Which has got pictures of berries. So.
No.
Yeah, berries and biscuits.
I think, Ben, you're quite right with the berry thing there. It's very, very berry.
Yeah, okay. You like it, though, Ben. Ben likes...
I do. I do. I do sort of see the juvenile aspect to it, and I do sort of think it's a bit sort of... I don't know, but it doesn't have the refinedness that you from some of these other perfumes, but I like it. It's fun. It's a fun perfume, and that's for me is
interesting. I don't think it's fun.
Really?
It's like
it's fun for ROja Dove. No,
I don't know. No, to me it feels like it's still quite a serious perfume, despite the name and the sort of fruitiness to it.
I hope they go for football in the groups. I hope they sell for football.
No, they sell for quite a lot, I'm afraid. But I don't know. There's just something, that biscuity texture that you like, I don't. It's like, it's fine for actually a biscuit. It's not ideal for a perfume.
You kind of expect the biscuit to be biscuity, don't you? If it wasn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's part of the terms and conditions of the biscuit. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a big part of the selling point. I think that is where it hinges. I think if you don't like that, then it doesn't have a lot else, you know.
Yeah,
it's the novelty, the fun novelty aspect.
You don't like the biscuits, you're a bit fucked here, mate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done Sweetie Oud. What do we think Fliss thinks of that? I think we know what Fliss thinks of that, given that
she sold it to me, so she's not a big fan, I think.
I think she must have been a fan enough to have got it in the first place.
I think it came in an advent calendar, maybe.
Oh, really?
I think maybe the Harrods calendar or something. I don't know. I don't think.
I recall her saying the same as us, that I think she kind of, it's got this kind of, it's a bit like a psychopath. It's got like a superficial charm where you go, oh, okay, and you're all right with it, and then you realise it's a bit fucking slick and a bit weird, and I don't like it.
I like that. A psychopath.
It's like the guy on the
superficially charming.
Yeah, it's like the guy on the on that film that you talk about. I've not seen it, so I don't know. But
yeah,
probably can charm you to pick him on fucking the dating thing.
He's extremely charming. Yeah, exactly. Complete psychopath. Yeah. Horrible film. I mean, brilliant, but just difficult as fuck.
I think
to
I
watch.
might watch that tonight, maybe.
I honestly think you'll really enjoy it. It's a properly good movie, and it's what's her name, the lead, whose name I've temporarily forgotten, but she's the she's the director. It's her first
is it?
directorial job.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good effort.
Have you ever seen Tyrannosaur?
No, but I know.
No, that is a hard film.
Yeah, I know. I keep meaning to
I've seen it once and I will never watch it again. It was bleak.
They played the movie on the BBC, this sort of post-nuclear apocalypse one.
Is it Threads?
Threads. Yes.
Yeah.
I've still never built up the courage to watch Threads. Have you seen it?
Yeah, that's something. That's bleak.
Yeah, I don't much fancy it. I feel like there's certain movies, like after I watch them, I need to watch something fun and light.
Like a cleanser.
Jenny is exactly the same. She's like, can we watch something funny for half an hour? I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
No, let's watch something even worse, like now, before we go to bed.
So have you seen Green Room? I think it's called Green Room.
That's a great film. Yeah.
It's fucking, but it's
brutal.
like, you think your fucking heart's going to tear out your chest. It's so fucking intense.
And who's the bad guy is fucking Jean-Luc Picard.
I know. Fucking head Nazi. Yeah. What? I mean, not to give too much away about the movie, but what a fucking movie. But I watched that like on a Sunday night in bed on my iPad. I finished it at about midnight and I was like, well, I'll just go to bed now, go to sleep now. It's like, no fucking way. Got like all this adrenaline fucking shooting around your body.
Who was a talented child actor who's now passed away, unfortunately, got crushed by his own car against the gate of his house. Yeah. He's got like he was like of Russian descent, this kid. You know, the main kid in the band, the singer in the band.
Yeah.
Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, that's him.
Is that him?
Fantastic child actor. Okay. I remember when he was in Curb Your Enthusiasm and he shows Larry a trick and he's going, well, you can't do it because you're not a magician. And he's going, I am a magician. I can be a magician. No, you're not a magician. You know, they have this fucking... He's brilliant. He's only about fucking 12 or something in that. And he was in the Star Trek films as well, wasn't he? He was... whatever the Russian one in the Star Trek films is called.
Sulu. Is it Sulu?
No.
I don't know. Fuck knows.
Anyway,
Star Trek.
he was
Star
good,
Trek's
but unfortunately, he died a few years ago. A really tragic accident. I think he must have got out of his car and it backed up on him and crushed him against the gate. Yeah, so it's sad. But yeah, that Green Room film, God. Fuck me. Like, that is, I was not... It's one of those where you don't know what to expect. And then you go, wow, that was fucking great. Yeah, so... Well,
the most tragic car crush story ever was that of Brian Harvey of E17, who got
E17.
E17, no, E17, the band, Brian Harvey.
Yeah.
He was so fucked on ecstasy that he drove his car home, it parked on his driveway, and somehow managed to fall out of his car and reverse over his own head. He's fucking...
What, is he dead now?
No, he's not dead. He's just really fucked.
Flat.
Yeah. And in the press, apparently he said he'd eaten too many potatoes and felt unwell. What? Just the fucking most random story ever. Anyway, look,
when I was 13, I went to a party, like a 13th birthday party, and I had a slow dance with like the girl that I was like majorly like in love with at my school. To that song, E17, Stay. And it meant that my teenage years were like haunted by that song.
Just don't do drugs and drive. That's my advice. In yet another ludicrous departure, where were we? Sweetie Ood, we'd concluded that Fliss probably likes it somewhat, but not enough to care, because she sold it to Ben. Fliss, we're sorry about the way this episode is going. Please come back and stop us being useless. Okay, right. We've got two more Rogers, I think. What do you want? Goodnight Kiss or Sheeper Extraordinaire? I'm going to say Goodnight Kiss. Let's talk about Goodnight Kiss, which is, I believe, a riff on a Guerlain something or other. Powdery, definitely fucking powdery. Maybe floral. Is this meant to be inspired by
Le Bleu?
A kiss goodnight from his mother or something? He
The Guerlain, Le Bleu.
Le Bleu. What's that? The blue hour.
Good night.
Yeah. Is that what Le Bleu means?
Yeah,
though?
I seem to recall him saying that this was to do with the kiss from his mum, and him remembering the smell of her like face cream and her powder and her all these different fucking things. And that was what inspired it, not Le Bleu, which he happened to have,
definitely not something else in the Guerlain catalogue.
No,
the company that he worked for many years.
Yeah, that he used to have to flog to people.
Okay. I mean, do you like it?
Yes.
Do you like it a lot or a little?
A fair amount. I mean, it's clearly a very classy perfume. When I first sprayed it, when you first sent it, I was like, it's not as I remember. I remember being quite enamored with it when I tried it, I think, initially. What I got from wearing it, because I've worn this one, the only one I haven't worn is the Enigma, because I knew, and the Sweet Oud actually, I've just kind of sprayed them, but I get the picture with them. So I've worn the Chypre Extraordinaire and I've worn this one. And I felt that it was a little bit too, it kind of breaks down a little bit on my skin personally. Now on this strip, it's very bright in the top notes. I can still get loads of the kind of white florally type element to it. And I can get a little bit of that wispy kind of violet. But as it kind of wears on your skin, it breaks down a little bit to a little bit like chalky kind of violet. And I'm like, this is not so great. But having said that, like I say, smelling it now on the strip, I don't get any of that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. No, I like it. It is quite reminiscent of that Guerlain that we were talking about, the Le Bleu. And it's lovely. Very well made perfume, very much appealing to perfume fans. Very much can get the imagery that he's talking about, even though, I didn't know his mum. Sounds
what
odd.
you didn't know Mrs. Dove?
No.
Bird. She would have
know
been
Mrs.
Mrs. Bird. He was born Roger Bird.
Yeah, I mean, it's lovely and everything. It's not really to my taste, other than, it's my taste as somebody who likes, classic like perfume and stuff, but I didn't really enjoy wearing it the way that I thought that I would. So therefore it gets kind of put on the, on the back burner, as it were.
I'm surprised by how much I like it.
I wouldn't have thought it's your vibe at all. But
no, not really. But I'll tell you, I think so. I appreciate powderiness more now. I think since the Prada Infusions one,
fucking magic. Yeah,
I think Ben, you got me into that originally. Well, since then, I certainly appreciate the sort of the elegance of a powdery fragrance, but there's something there's something like ashy, like just a little bit, I don't know, like we've talked about that something off kilter, just something, a little bit of dirt or grit in the sort of in the experience that makes it, and for me, despite the sort of grand, clean, make-up-y sort of powdery iris, which obviously conjures up very demure sort of and elegant sort of images, there is just something a little bit fucking grimy, a little bit smoky or ashy in the bottom, and I that really makes it for me, because it's almost like the treat that you're getting towards, and I can smell it from the beginning, and when it sort of it grows it's almost like I don't know
that
I'm smelling the whole thing.
That element,
does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Just to say that the whole thing about ROja Dove and the reason that I like them is because they have that element that perfume has to have any dimension, depth, or interest or anything. It has to have that little bit of something where you go, that's kind of out of character for the whole thing, but it makes everything else. Yeah. So this has like kind of almost like hyacinthy type kind of very floral top notes that I know that you don't like, Dan, right? That I know you don't like them, and then it has this kind of powdery sort of, Chypre-esque interior that you might go, oh yeah, I like that. But then it's got that little bit of something that you're talking about that makes it, right? And that's why ambergris works. That's why civet works. That's why all these things have to be in a perfume to make it rounded and to make it appeal to anybody, or else it would just be fucking boring and shit. And if it doesn't have that element, then it's not. And that is one thing ROja Dove does very well. Always has that little element of just that je ne sais quoi, that little fucking thing that makes it good. And that's where all these perfumes kind of excel. And he seems to have a very good quality control. I'm not saying he doesn't make the perfumes, but come on, that he actually must vet them and go, if they don't have that. But I've witnessed some of his perfumes which don't have that. And I have to say that Discovery set that I got, they were rubbish. And I was like, this is a shame because normally he's very good at, even if they're not my style, I can appreciate that they're good perfume because they've got that depth and dimension and stuff. And this definitely has that. So,
well,
yeah.
The thing that I kind of get with it is, there's too many thoughts trying to leap out of my gob at the same time. But basically, it's at the tail end of the perfume that I get that experience. But because I've now been through the cycle, I can now sort of sense it from the start.
Yeah.
Right. So I wouldn't, if I spray it now, the first time I smelled it, I went, oh my God, no, that's just a girly, powdery nonsense. Yeah. Right. But because I know what it smells like in the end, now when I smell the beginning, it almost sort of triggers up the anticipation.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Isn't it? How that happens?
Yeah. It's just,
you sort of condition yourself to like know that that's going to happen from the first time, and it can change with perfume.
Exactly. So, which is a good advert for the Ben technique of wearing things multiple times before you arrive at a judgment. I think
it is
because I'm often too quick to dismiss stuff, but this has really it really surprised me, given where it starts, that I enjoyed it so much. Ben, what did you make of it?
I love it, but it's interestingly for a reason that no one's mentioned yet, and I don't know. Well, we sort of mentioned it, but that sort of white floral citrusy, because it's quite a acidic smell almost, and it reminds me a little bit of suntan lotion. That sort of white floral, but it's got this. It has a citrus element to it, but it's not citrus. It's clearly a floral, but it has that acidic element to it as well, and I just really like that. That slight, like you say, like it's the thing that sticks out and feels like it has to be there. That something that sort of scabs it up a little bit. And for me, it's because you got all this like very soft, powdery violet and irisy type thing happening, and that's all very nice, very chalky, very clean sort of musk element to it. But then it's just that slight. I said tart earlier, and I'm going to say it again.
It's like sharpness, isn't it? It's like a sharp.
Yeah, sharpness, yeah. And I really like that. And I think it sticks out just enough to not be blatant and not be sort of, again, like crass. It's exactly where it needs to be in the perfume, if you know what I mean. It sticks out just enough to smell it, but you have to look for it.
It's balance,
like
exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think you obviously, being in the kind of hair industry, do you get a tiny little touch of Elnet, like a little bit of like hairspray, just slightly?
Yeah, like, totally, yeah.
Just that kind of astringency, just that little like tickle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
yeah, so I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was really good.
What am I surprised about? I'm not surprised you loved it, Ben. I thought you might have been a bit more enthusiastic about it, James. Not that you were sort of down on it at all.
No, I think it's very good.
I thought you might.
Yeah, I think it's very good.
I know that Fliss likes this one, and I imagine that she's smelling it now and really enjoying it.
I can see Fliss enjoying this one. Would definitely be her favourite, I think, of the ones we smelt so far. It has that classical edge to it, doesn't it? That I think would appeal to Fliss.
And I think the powderiness it is very grand and very sort of opulent. I'm surprised how much I enjoyed it, actually. Good. Right, that only leaves one, Roger. Shall we do it?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. So we're talking about Chypre Extraordinaire. Ben, you go first with Chypre Extraordinaire.
It's fucking brilliant. It's really fucking brilliant. It's so fucking good. I couldn't believe it. So I sprayed this first, right, when you sent them, because I saw the name. I was like, Chypre Extraordinaire, ROja Dove. Yeah, I know what I'm getting into here.
Yeah,
this is going to be fucking boring. It's going to be derivative. It's going to be tiresome. And I sprayed it and I was like, fuck, this is a banger. This is such a banger. It's so good. It's so good. It's such a fantastic balance. Again, like balance of... It feels at times a little musty and a little bit old manish, but it never leans too heavily into that for me. And it has this like quite youthful fruitiness to it, which I think balances it really nicely. So it never flops into old man category. It sort of pulls back from that edge quite nicely. And yeah, it's just fantastic. It also, it progresses very nicely. It tells a good story. You know, from when you first spray it, you sort of feel like, oh, I know where this is going, and it is somewhat predictable, I think, in its motions, but it's good at every step of the way. I think I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I really liked it. I think it's probably my favourite of the ones that you sent. I think it was excellent.
Okay, well, you've ruined the question I was going to ask at the end, but
sorry.
No, you bastard. But I'm just looking at this perfume reminds me of on Fragrantica, and the number 2 choice is a perfume called Phantasm by Ted Lapidus. And I can't read the word Ted Lapidus without saying Lapidus. Ridiculous name. Ted Lapidus.
Ted Lapidus.
Hey, is that... Ted Lapidus got diabetes. Right. I mean, this is, I think, arguably my favourite ROja perfume by some way, actually. I just think it is utterly fucking magnificent, and honestly, if I could fucking drown in it, I probably would. James, what did you make of it? No. You didn't like it?
Don't get me wrong. Elements of it I like, right? Clearly, to me, smells much better on the strip. Now, I wore this in the week, right? And obviously,
really?
The moment I sprayed it, I was like, wow, right? This is fucking a bit of me, this. And I figured it'd be a bit of everybody else, right? Because I was like, this is one of those where we're all going to fucking like it, right? I thought Fliss definitely, she'll fucking like, you're all going to fucking love this, right? But as it progressed, I was slightly... The thing I like about it here is that I love the kind of top notes, the sort of, peachy kind of like warm, but like sort of powdery kind of thing. It smells, it's reminiscent of Mitsuko Diaghilev, all those kind of things. But then also it has this slightly Rocas Femme, cumin kind of note that I can smell on this strip. But then the creaminess of it is quite overwhelming, right? So it has this very creamy, I don't know, sandalwood, vanilla, whatever it is, that kind of is it's a bit too much for me. And I'm like, it kind of swamps some of the Chypre, the classic Chypre sort of elements of it for me as I wore it during the day. Now, smell it on this strip now, and I completely concur with you. And I'm like, this smells like pretty much an ideal perfume. I can smell the creaminess, but it's very well balanced and all that. But when I wore it on my skin, and I hate to be one of these fucking skin chemistry twats.
Skin chemistry, cunt.
I'm not even going to evoke that. But it was just really creamy to the point of like, it felt a bit sickly. And I sort of thought, well, it's kind of reminiscent of all these other perfumes that aren't like that I would probably rather be wearing. And I don't want to be mean to it, because I want perfume to evolve. I want it to still evoke those things, but do something different. And this definitely does something slightly different and tries to be slightly more modern, or slightly more, we can't just blatantly stick out the same thing again. Let's make it. Do you find it extremely kind of creamy to the point it's almost like lactonic?
So no.
Right.
But here's possibly why. Because when you say creamy and lactonic, I sort of almost assume a kind of element of sweetness there. If I think milky, sort of sweet milk, by which I do not mean that guy on Reddit, sweet milk. For me, that it's very mossy, and there's like a bit of civet or something. There's definitely a hit of cumin and stuff, and again, it's a little bit structurally. It's a bit reminiscent of a Goodnight Kiss, because you've got a load of peachy sort of fuzziness in the middle, and then you've got this kind of slightly fucking filthy, except this is quite a lot more filthy to me. So whereas Goodnight Kiss is like just a little dab of something, it's a little bit of black paint in the white. This is just like a whole fucking wodge of paint thrown in there, and I'm here for it.
I think my thing is it's a lot softer. I mean, it's a lot rounder. Like the edges are much more rounded for me, and it is a little bit too rounded, just in the wearing experience. And I was gutted, because when I first sprayed it, I was like, "This is fucking immense," and I kept getting little waves of that going. Look, I know that this perfume has all those elements that I really like, but it was just, like I say, not even that the balance is off. It's that I think it's a deliberate thing to not just remake fucking Diaghilev or what, you know what I mean? You can't just remake the same fucking perfume over and over again. So I think the tweak on this was to make it rounder, more kind of, just sort of a little bit softer focus for me personally, and I just felt a little bit too creamy. That was all.
Do you get a little bit of that sort of Coca-Cola thing from the Enigma in it? Like I think it's the peach and the spices. Just you get a little bit of that Coca-Cola edge to it.
And so I know we've talked before about how you can wear the same perfume in different sort of conditions, or different clothing, different day, whatever, and you'll get a different experience. I've worn this quite a lot, and I repeatedly get that sort of slight cola-y sort of twang to it, which I think this is one of the most perfect fucking perfumes that I've ever tried. I absolutely love it. But I'm glad at least one of you agrees with me.
We've got a remarkable amount of crossover today, which is unusual, between me and Dan.
We need Fliss here to fucking be a bit more nasty about something here. I don't know. What do you reckon? Fliss is going to like this Chypre Extraordinaire or not?
I reckon
Yeah, I think
so.
she will. Yeah.
I don't know. I think she'll say, "Oh, it's very nice," but why would I want that when I could be wearing Mitsuko X-Straight or something?
Yeah, I think
that's
somewhere
quite aligned
between-
with what I've said. So maybe not,
Yeah.
because we don't often.
Yeah.
No, sometimes we do, and I think maybe in this instance, considering you two are like completely fucking jizzing over it.
There may be a slight jizzing over it. Yeah, that'd be
Well,
very messy.
these guys can't see the fucking cameras that I can see, so.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
that's
God.
all I think. Like I say, it's a minor criticism because it's better than I can smell the quality. I can smell the thing. Like I say, I even applaud the fact that it is got this really heavy sort of creamy, like rounded element, because like I say, you can't just keep repeating the same fucking perfumes over and over again. You have to tweak them. But just in this instance, this particular tweak of the formula is slightly, I think it didn't do as much for me as I hoped it would from some of the other elements that are in there. But like I say, smelling it on that strip there, I'm like, fuck me, this is really nice. And it is really nice. Don't get it fucking twisted. Better than like 90% of perfumes that you can try out there. And if you want something quality, how much is this, by the way?
Expensive.
Is it? How much?
Yeah. Well,
900 maybe?
I think it's 750 for 100 mil. Interestingly, they halved the price of it. I'm sure it was £1,500.
I remember the drama. You telling us about it. Yeah.
And they just halved it. So anyone who paid £1,500 probably got the fucking arsehole about that. But they do tend to sell for between £400 and £500, I think, on Facebook, which obviously is a shit lot of money. But I'm not sure we've ever really talked about this concept of quality ingredients. I get fucking quite bothered about that because I feel like I wouldn't know a quality ingredient if it bit me up the fucking arse. I don't know what's good and what's not from a ingredients point of view. So the average dickhead in the street is probably going to be about as well informed as I am.
Well, I think
But
the average dickhead calls them ingredients. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I'm being a dick. I'm only joking. I don't care about that.
No,
some
that's
people
all
do
right.
care about that. I call them fucking materials because that's what they are. But some people get really
Materials,
funny
but-
about ingredients because it's like, I'm not making a fucking soup. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they're not
fucking souffle.
But I'd say ingredient doesn't necessarily refer to food, does it? Do you know what I mean? You can have ingredients for anything.
But okay, but the particular noun we use is almost by the by.
It doesn't
This
matter.
idea
No,
of,
I was just
of the
fucking around
quality.
there.
Yeah, I know. But I don't have a good sense of what is a quality material versus a inferior or cheap material.
Yeah.
And I've been presented with materials that I know are mass produced, inexpensively produced synthetics that smell incredible, and I've smelled sort of niche micro batch kind of hand extracted fucking yak's arsehole or whatever, that arguably would be a very high quality material, and thought, well, that's fucking repulsive. So I don't have a good sense of that. However, I do have a sort of sense that the materials used in most of these compositions that we've tried, they feel like they are high quality. If that means anything at all, I don't know what it means really.
I think the problem when you get in that style is there are some materials that are cheap but can give the impression of like what we imagine as luxury. There's
You talked about a particular, was it a musk sort of filler that you sort of describe it as sometimes? But I think they convey, and it's hard to know how much is just kind of like suggestion. These are expensive, therefore, they smell expensive. Would I say they smell expensive without knowing the price?
No.
I like to. I like
sometimes
to think I
you
would.
Sometimes you wouldn't.
Yeah,
like you say, it really is. You're not necessarily to know, and also a lot of it comes down to taste, right? You might think that, like I particularly like the really cheap frankincense, right? So your average olibanum oil, right? I like the really quite shitty cheap stuff because it smells more like what I sort of imagine to be like when you burn frankincense. But when you get the really, really like Omani fucking super silver amazing shit, right? It smells very what's the word? It's gone out of my fucking head.
Different?
No, it's like how has that gone? It's like kind of menthol. What's like that sort of
Camphorous.
Camphorous. Sorry.
Camphorous.
It smells very camphorous, very sharp and astringent, and you're like, wow, that's. But again, it's how you. So coming back to materials, it's how you use it as well, right? So it's not just preference. When you talk about quality materials, you could have a tiny amount of a really good quality material, or it could appeal to the perfumer, right? It's how the perfumer smells that and goes, wow, that's a really good, very unique sandalwood. They pick up something in and they go, I could build an accord around that. I could extract this bit of it and draw this out and make this. That's where the importance of quality materials come from, not how many quality materials you can just bung into a perfume, because that's not how it works. It's like anything else. It's like, how do you embellish that thing? How do you bring that thing to the forefront? Why are you using it in the first place? Yeah. Because if people can't tell the difference, what's the fucking point? Yeah. And also when it comes down to the price of it, little dickhead. Sorry, my cat, he's just being lovely, giving me love and that, and he starts fucking biting me, the little twat. I think I'm not giving him enough attention. Sorry, mate. So anyway, that's what it's about. Yeah. So I don't think that it shouldn't really matter to people that much, right? But it is a factor, right? But I think there's more to it than just like, I want my money's worth out of it. Because if you enjoy it and you like it, it shouldn't really matter that much. How much the raw material cost that went into that perfume, whether it's a molecule someone's made in a lab or it's something that somebody's grown, with very fine standards and they've paid all the people properly and all that shit. I mean, that's another element to it, but you know what I mean? Where it comes from and the provenance of it and all that.
Well, I tell you what would be a great experiment to do if we could find some way of doing it, but would be to blind test some inexpensive and some incredibly expensive perfumes and to somehow decide between us, is this ridiculously expensive or is it ridiculously cheap?
I've got a couple of perfumes that cost pennies and I think they smell mint. Like I think they come across as really expensive smelling. And one of them cost me $4.99.
Fucking hell! $4.99, 499 quid. £4.99. Yeah, it's amazing.
£4.99.
Well, you know about mandate.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think a lot of the time, it's how you use it. It's like anything, innit? Just throwing money at us at any situation rarely yields good results, right? Like you think about like fashion or anything, like that typical thing of like that person that they've got all the money and they know all the brands and they buy all the clothes, but they don't look good because they've got no style, because that's a very different thing, right? And that's the same as, I think, like when it comes to ingredients, like James was saying, I think that a quality perfumer is going to be able to sniff a material of any standard and see where it fits and where it's going to draw, where you're going to be able to draw the most of it out and where it's going to work. And if it works, the price is really irrelevant of the material. I think.
Precisely.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Although I am still.
I think it's the consumer that cares more about the the lavender that's picked by virgins in grass. You know what I mean? I don't think the actual industrial side doesn't give a shit when it was picked. You know, if it was picked on a full moon by a fucking.
I think it would be an interesting experiment, right, for us to send samples to each other unlabeled at different price ranges and see whether you can infer anything from the scent as to whether this is an expensive, mid-price or inexpensive perfume. You know, is there anything at all really? Because it has to be blind. In fact, I suspect for scientists it has to be double blind. So we would have to come up with some way of doing this where nobody fucking knew the answer. This is a terrible idea. It needs some work. I think it needs some work.
No,
but you get the point I'm making.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's. I like the concept. We'll do something like that, but I mean, it's not really. I don't know how useful that is to somebody listening or whatever. It might be, interesting little experiment.
How useful is any of this shit to anyone listening?
Well, I think some of our fucking shit we've been talking about tonight is very useful.
Very useful indeed.
Especially all the non-perfume stuff that we've been...
Yeah. If you're into films, then you might walk away with
we should start a fucking film podcast or just... gradually transition this into film now.
Okay. So what we should do, we should put out the same podcast and we should put it out just under two different names. One on a film streaming thing and one as a perfume streaming thing. And no one will know the difference because that's how it works. Okay, look, I feel like we've been babbling on for way long enough. I want to wrap it up with a few quickies. Ben, your favourite of the ROja Dove perfumes was...
Yeah, it was Super Extraordinaire.
Okay, good. And your least favourite was?
Sweetie Oud, probably.
Okay, you and I are of one mind on that. James, favourite?
Enigma, probably.
Mm-hmm. Least favourite?
Sweetie Oud.
Yeah, I think Sweetie Oud's a turd. But good calls. Which do we think Fliss's favourite was?
Good Night Kiss, I reckon.
Yeah, I'd say so as well.
Yeah, agreed. And her least favourite?
Sweet Oud, I reckon.
I'm going to go for Enigma.
I think she might not like Enigma as well, but I think she'd be wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously, she'd be wrong.
Give her a hard time. She's not here to defend herself, but
exactly. Yeah. That's the perfect time to give her a hard time. Okay, cool.
I think if she lived with Enigma for a while, she'd come around. It's a bit like the Enigma machine, it takes a while to fucking figure it out. And it was good though, wasn't it? It was all right.
That was very good. I mean, it took a very long time to figure out the Enigma machine.
Takes a whole bunch of ladies stuck in a room grilling away for weeks on end.
And then the fella took all the credit
movie as well. Naturally. But that is an excellent movie as well.
It is a good film, that. Yeah, very good. And what's his name?
Benedict.
Dick fucking coming about.
Penguins. Penguins. Benedict Cumberbatch cannot say penguin. It's fucking weird. I can't watch Benedict Cumberbatch without hearing the word pengling now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. Usual fucking
of
nonsense.
Cool things. Sorry, on Netflix. Have you seen that thing he's in where he's like a Muppet guy? That series. It's called. It's like the name of the Muppet. He's basically like Jim Henson, and it's based in New York in the 80s or 70s, 80s, late 70s, early 80s. It is fucking brilliant. It's superb. It's like a 6-part series or something. It's only quite short. And he's basically, he does this kind of kids show, but he's an alcoholic and it's fucking brilliant. It's amazing. His kid goes missing and it's really good. It's really good.
Okay, I'm going to have to go and search that up.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to go and seek it out.
Rotten Tomatoes. It's called it's whatever the name of the fucking the thing is. That's going to annoy me now. Sorry, I'll
It's
Google
the
it.
thing is called whatever name the thing is. Excellent.
The character, the Muppet, the main Muppet.
The main Muppet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who was the main Muppet? Kermit.
No, it's actual Muppets. It's like it's the equivalent of the Muppets. It's like they're Muppets, and it's a kind of Muppet show, but without actually being called the Muppets, because it's not. You know, it's called like Sunshine. Muppet. Yeah, it's like fucking Timu Muppets. Ben Dick coming about.
But come in
there, just right. He's a dirty bastard, isn't he? Right. Coming in bad.
Right, you're going to have to give us the answer to this question. You're going to have to let us know.
Eric, it's called. Eric.
It's called Eric.
Yeah, it's really good. I recommend.
Is it watching. On Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Very, very good.
And can you confirm you are not being paid by Netflix?
I'm not being paid by Netflix. I mean, they could fucking bung us a few quid, couldn't they?
No, I suggest they should.
Yeah.
I suggest they should. Okay, right. Fliss is going to be fucking annoyed with us because we didn't talk enough about perfumes and we went on for far too long. So I think it's time to wrap it. Let's draw a line under it right fucking there. We will be back in 2 weeks. And if we haven't got Fliss, we'll try and get someone else to fucking keep her chair warm and keep us on track, because I think it's abundantly clear that the three of us left to our own devices are utter machines of chaos and should not be allowed to do this alone, unsupervised. Until next time, we've been Les Oderants, and we will speak to you, I don't know, we'll catch you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.